My name is Savannah Locklear, and I survived Stevens-Johnson syndrome. In 2015, I was 11 years old. I was in the 6th grade, and life was good. I had a good family, I had good friends, I enjoyed school, but I was a klutz. And one night, while trying to help my parents clean up the house, I dropped an iPad on my toe, and I ended up fracturing my toe because of it. It ended up hurting the toenail as well, and the toenail ended up falling off, and when the new toenail grew back on, it grew with an infection. So my parents took me to the doctor, and the doctor said, we're going to give you some type of antibiotic, and they ended up giving me an antibiotic called Bactrim. It was a pretty high dosage, and I had to take it twice a day for 10 days. In the beginning, everything was fine with it. I noticed some change in my toe, which is good. But around the 5th or 6th day, my throat started hurting while I was taking it. We didn't really think anything of it. The season was changing, but antibiotics can help with more than one thing. So we just kind of pushed it off, and my parents said, if it doesn't get better, we'll take you back to the doctor. The very last day that I took the antibiotic, my parents noticed 2 pimple-like dots on my mouth whenever I went to sleep. That whole day, I had not felt good. My throat was hurting, I wasn't eating, I was very tired, and eventually whenever I got home, I just went straight to bed about 6:30. And whenever they went to tell me goodnight, they noticed those 2 pimple-like spots. They didn't really think anything much of it. They said that they would look at it in the morning because you don't want to jump to conclusions, right? So that morning, when they woke me up on March the 18th, my mama said I looked like a monster. My lips were swollen to about 2 or 3 times the size they were supposed to be. My tongue had blisters all over it. My eyes were bloodshot. And so she dropped my brother off at school and took me to the ER. And once I was admitted into the ER, the physicians on call said that I had hand, foot, and mouth. And so they told us just to keep fluids in me and to take Tylenol and Motrin as needed. Eventually, my mama called my aunt and said, this just doesn't look like hand, foot, and mouth to me. What should I do? And my aunt, being the great nurse she is, she said, take her to the children's clinic and they'll probably admit her for something. Well, by that next day, I had only drinking about 3 ounces of water or any fluid at all. And so the children's clinic admitted me into the hospital for dehydration. But they said that I still had hand, foot, and mouth. And as a few days progressed in the hospital, I was getting the fluids I was needing, but my physical health was still declining. And so one day while I was in the hospital, a doctor kind of looked at me, and with great concern, she turned to my mom and said I wanted to do a full body exam. And without being too graphic, what was on my mouth and eyes was everywhere. And so she pulled my mama outside into the hallway and said, I think Savannah has something called Stevens-Johnson syndrome. And basically what Stevens-Johnson syndrome is, it's a severe allergic reaction to medication. I was allergic to sulfur that was in the drug that I was taking. And it ended in the result of me pretty much burning from the inside out. Once I got to Chapel Hill and was placed in the burn unit, I started to get better. They did a biopsy and declared that I did have Stevens-Johnson syndrome, and we were able to take a course of action. After about 3 days in the burn units, they started to see some decline, and it started to show in me. I wasn't eating like I should. I wasn't drinking. I remember vividly the doctor saying, we may need to put in a feeding tube, and a nurse standing up for me and saying, no, she needs to be moved to a children's unit. The change in scenery made my recovery process much quicker. I was able to interact with other people. I was able to play board games, do homework with other kids, and have lots of fun. I've made pretty much a complete recovery. I have now graduated from high school a year early, and I attend Hannibal University. I am majoring in elementary ed, and I will teach the little humans. I absolutely love the path that God has taken me down with Campbell. It truly is my niche. I found my people, and it truly is good for my soul. I love it there. But because of God's goodness, I get to tell my story to people all over the place, and I cannot be more grateful for that.